Well, the humanity in that situation like that is unfortunately thrown away. And what I talk about in the book is how people in every walk of life, you don't need to be in a prison, well, you can be marginalized in any different way. And towards the end of the book, I have a title that's a numbered title. I think it's number, whatever the number is, and it basically talks about how that person who was incarcerated was recognized and only known by his number. But a lot of people just feel like a number, whether it be in the corporate world or whether it be, you're identified by a number, the IRS, and it's just the way the world works. It's a bureaucratic, robotic atmosphere that we're all living under, and that's we're all to the point we all feel marginalized, and it's a horrible place to be when you're marginalized, and it's just reality. It's reality. And that's the cold hard fact. So I talk about in one of the chapters how a number is just a cold hard fact. You've derived these numbers through whether it be optimal solutions, figuring things out, or just by memorization. But that number is that number. There's no emotional gymnastics that take place deriving that number, And that's a strong element of the book towards the end of how people are marginalized and finding humanity within that atmosphere, which I think the book accomplishes at the end. Yeah. No. Yeah, you got to buy the book. Right.
Everybody, welcome back to Living the Next Chapter, the author podcast. If you're heading out for a road trip, there's a route you need to take. It's Route 80, and you need to take it because you're going to find the spot where two worlds, one road, and one hell of a ride. Michael's here on the show. I'm excited to have him on the podcast. Be talking about his book, audiobook coming soon for you driving down the road. You're like, oh, I'd read it, but I'm driving. Audiobook's coming soon. Michael's here on the show. We're going to talk about a story, a fictionalized story that puts you in the driver's seat and in the car with them. Michael, so glad to have you on the show. Welcome to the podcast.
David, thanks for having me, and thank you for that nice introduction. Your check is in the mail, by the way.
Thank you. Well, I have the book in my hand. That's what I'm happy with this.
Well,
I'm happy with it.
I appreciate you having me on. Thank you very, very much.
Excellent.
Thank you, sir.
Excellent. Michael, let everybody know, Michael, where are you in this big world of ours?
Well, right now I am currently in the beautiful section of Long Island, New York, probably about 45 minutes outside of Manhattan. I grew up in one of the boroughs of New York City, which is Queens. And that's where, in Route 80, a lot of the book takes place. It's on Route 80, but a lot of the backstory is kids growing up in Queens, New York, which is a very interesting place.
So where does Route 80 take you? As a Canadian, I'm trying to picture this. Where does Route 80 start?
Yeah, that's a great question. Route 80 travels from New Jersey all the way. I think it stretches out to the West Coast, maybe as far as California, I think. So cross country. But this road trip, quote unquote road trip, takes place between New York through New Jersey into Pennsylvania.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool. We have a lot of authors that listen to the show. Michael, I like to kind of honor them as they tune into what we're talking about today. I've got authors listening and they're just at the beginning stages of writing a book.
Right.
So you're way down the road compared to they are.
Yeah.
And they're looking for a little bit of inspiration from a fellow author.
Yeah.
If there was a podcast that you press play on before writing Route 80, what would have been helpful to hear from another author listening in before you started this project?
Well, I have to tell you, I believe this is a saying, and I thoroughly believe in this, and I'll share this. Every artist was at first an amateur. I mean, think about that, right?
Right.
I mean, you have to start somewhere. You have to have confidence in your story, and you have to just, if you want to leave a legacy, and you want to represent your story and yourself, then just do it, because every artist was at first an amateur. So there's no, people have inhibitions of if people are going to like my story or not like it. And, the judgment is some kind of, can be a little overwhelming, but throw that out the window. It should not be part of the equation. Just believe in your story and just do it. It sounds easier, but it's if you have that strong belief in your story and you want to leave a legacy and you want to leave your voice or your imprint or your stamp, basically, execute it. So nothing
Okay.
really, and there wasn't really anything that inspired me to do it because I've always had that belief, that strong conviction of
Yeah.
of executing things and just throwing caution to the wind. So that's what I would share, to be honest.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Any authors that inspire you as a reader?
When I was young, I used to read many of Graham Greene's books.
Okay.
He's an author. He was writing back in the 30s and the 40s, and great author. And I read many of his books. And I also like to read like the Malcolm Gladwell books. I find them
Yeah.
interesting, like the Tipping Point, all those types of books inspired me. But I had this story. I formulated this idea back in 2008, and I had the structure, and I wrote everything down, going back to the process of writing, right, Dave? And so I
Yeah.
wrote everything down. I took my notes, and I had all like these chapters formulated, just rough notes. And then I was at that time I was raising my kids, and I basically just tucked it to the side. And then in 2016, I came across I said, well, I want to see what I did. I want to, because I still had this story in my mind to execute, to write. So anyway, so I went back in 2016, looked at the notes, and then it went back to it again in 2020, and actually started writing the book, really pen to paper. It's an arduous task. And then I had to get back to work after COVID. And then in 2024, I said, I'm going to write this book. And I had all my notes. And I'm happy I wrote the book in 2024 because if I would have wrote the book in 2008, it would have been a very different book,
Hmm.
because you just, in time, you grow and you mature and you learn a lot more. Life teaches you many lessons,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
it would have been a very different book. So I think the book is exactly the representation that I would have hoped for.
Yeah. As I'm reading through it, I mentioned to you, I love how you kind of break up your chapters. There's kind of like looks like mini little stories within a story.
Right.
It's very easy to follow, and it is very fast moving.
Yeah.
Like you feel like things are moving, and you got to keep up with the story. Like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
if you slow down, the story's going to pass you by. So you
Yes.
got to keep up with it. You're always like,
Yeah, you
like
want to read
chasing
the
after a
next
bus.
chapter.
Right.
You want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I appreciate that. What I also did in the book is every chapter has a small illustration, and
Yeah.
I did that
Yeah.
purposely because I wanted to have like a little bit of a vision. It's a little comedic thing that I was trying to achieve, because there's much introspection and reflection in the book, but there's also a lot of a comedic aspect to the book also. There's
Yeah.
stories that's going to make you laugh, and there's other stories that is definitely going to make you think and reflect, and also possibly make you emotional, which is,
Yeah.
you want to hit all those buttons when you're a writer. You want to tap into those emotional points that you want to press on. And I
Right.
think the book accomplishes that. I mean, that's all the reviews we've been getting, I've been getting, has been just that. People who read the book said, "Oh my God, at the end I cried. I did this, I did that." So,
Yeah.
mission
Yeah.
accomplished.
So you have Robert Frost from 1916.
Yeah.
In the beginning, The Road Not Taken.
The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both and be one traveler. Long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had worn them really about the same, and both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference.
What's the significance? Why is this in the front of the book? Can you explain to the reader why that's there?
Yeah, well, The Road Not Taken, I used that poem throughout the story metaphorically, to tie in the story where it's about a young man who grows up in Queens and is caught between a crossroads, of his dad's romantic, uh, intriguing, powerful life that's depicted in TV shows and movies and etc. And his mom's life is very steadfast and pragmatic and always doing the right thing and educating yourself. You follow? And
Yeah.
so he's caught between this glamour and this steadfast road that he isn't. It's a hard choice to follow. That it's a hard choice to make. But his mom's influence is always the deciding factor. And so it's the road not taken, or the road less traveled. But so I use the road less. I use the road not taken because ultimately the character takes the road less popular or the road not taken.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I wanted to start it. I thought it would be unique starting it off with that poem and really just basically setting the table and then explaining how that all ties in. And at the end, I just tie it up in a nice knot. Because,
Why?
we're all
Yeah.
faced with,
Why?
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We're all faced with roads that we either choose. We all have choices to make. Now, it may not be as dramatic as the choice the character in the book has to make. There's some consequences, but we all have choices that we have to take, and then you look back either with contentment or regret at the end of the day. But
True.
if you take the road that you really feel strongly about and passionately about, then you really, whether it turns out one way or the other, you'll have no regrets because you did what you felt was right in your heart. And that's what this character does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where did that poem come into the writing process? Was that like what kicked everything off for you?
That's a great question.
How does that fit?
That is a great question. No, it came,
Oh.
it didn't start. I wrote the book, and maybe by the time in the process of maybe three-quarters of the book, I said, wow, it hit me. I said, I can start the book because I can tie the book in with that Robert Frost poem. It was weird. That's a great question. You made me think about that. It didn't kickstart the book. The book was already developed, and I was laying in bed one morning. I woke up, and that idea hit me. I said, wow, that's a great idea. And it just all tied in anyway. And then I just tied in that poem towards the end and just made it all work.
How did you come across that poem then?
Well, I mean, look, we're educated people. We all went to school,
Yeah.
and that was a very popular
Yeah.
poem. It just hit me. Because I knew the story had that element, and it just came to me one day.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's like somebody who writes a song.
Yeah.
And, and they may have a title change or etc. As time goes on, and that's what I did, and it hit me, and I said, "Wow, that ties into the entire story," and I think it's a clever way of starting the book.
Yeah, it's very smart, and it carries all the way through.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I like that. You have a musical background.
I do. Yeah.
Right. So tell us a little bit about your music background, because I have a question that I'm going to lead you from that part back to the book. But
when I was younger, I was I still sing. I'm a singer. I'm a rock singer, and when I was younger, I was we played all the clubs here in the New York area, and traveled around a little bit, and had a lot of fun with that. I was a writer, songwriter, and singer, and arranger, and all that good stuff. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I always had a creative vibe going.
Good. What's your go-to song currently? What are you hitting play on right now?
Well, I got to tell you, I'm an older person. I'm 63.
Yeah.
And I'm not the type of person that listens to the new music.
Yeah.
And so music I grew up on was really the 70s and some of the 80s stuff and a little bit of the 90s. But the music I listen to a lot, the band that I listen to very much today is not a contemporary band, but it's a band that I love, is Oasis. I love Oasis. I think what they do it's great. It's great stuff. And so that's one of the bands I listen to. But I listen to a lot of mostly old music. I'm not the type of person that's searching for new stuff, which is probably a fault of my own. But It's just the way it sits.
I'm sad that our musical heroes that we've grown up with are getting older.
Yeah.
And you're like, they're not performing anymore. We're losing them. Some are passing away.
Yeah.
And you're like, you realize the clock is against us, right? When you see your heroes,
Yeah.
stepping off stage.
Yeah. You can't fight. You can never fight the hands on the clock. They keep moving.
No.
And
Right.
it's how you respond to the movement of time and passage of time that makes your life more positive as you go on.
Yeah.
Because if you don't really approach it in a way, in a positive way, your life becomes much more difficult as the clock keeps going.
Yeah.
So,
I've been doing music for 45 years.
Yeah.
Been playing guitar,
okay.
bass,
Yeah,
drums, piano, right?
Yeah.
And when you do rehearsals and we get on stage, there's a thing like to the flow of how you do your set list, how you do your songs. I love when a band pulls back, when it's just the bass and drums,
Right.
and then they start rebuilding the song in front of you. I love how the audience leans in when there's a change,
Yeah.
silence. I love that there's the best part of music is between the notes.
Yeah.
The little silence, the breaks.
That's it.
Makes people lean in, right? And what I noticed,
right.
by reading your book,
Yeah.
you have that feel.
Yes.
In your book, you have this flow to how you've presented your book. And I feel like there's some sort of musical something from you transporting into the book. I feel that flow that I love on stage with my favorite band.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I caught.
Yeah. No, I have to tell you, you're very intuitive. I'm very impressed that you picked that up. I think it was a natural way of me telling the story.
Yeah.
And, the most powerful sound in the world, in life, is the sound of silence.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
We just did it right there.
Well, I'm sorry?
Yeah, right. We just did it right there.
Yeah, I did it purposely. Right, I did it purposely. Because the sound of silence sets up the next form of speech or sound. It's very, very important, the sound of silence. And that's what I try to accomplish in the book, where I have a little bit of a rhythm, I hope. And I'm happy you really picked it up.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I try to accomplish that. And I'm glad to hear that you were able to pick that out.
Yeah. For me, silence is like getting to the end of a road and you have to go left or right. And in that moment, you're sitting there going, which way do I want to go? I don't know which way I want to go. Maybe if I go that way or I go that way. But you have options in that moment of reflection, in that section where you have to make a choice.
Yeah.
And when you add that to your book, you bring people to a part where they have to stop for a second.
Right.
And you're like, in that moment, their mind catches up with the story. And then they're like, well, what if we go? And then all of a sudden you start taking us in another way. You're like, whoa, okay, now I'm with you. Now I feel like I'm being led again.
And then
but you have a moment with yourself.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And each chapter I try to tie up with the life lesson or the reason behind making that decision. Because when we all hit a crossroad, the decisions we make are based on what we learned as people and what life has taught us. There's a saying, the river of life will take you where it's going to take you. It does. It's true. But you take that river based on your values and your morals and what you were taught and what you picked up over the years. That's why the older you get, the wiser you become.
Right.
I mean, you and I are much wiser, I would hope, much wiser today than we were 25, 30 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully I'll be wiser in another 25, 30 years, God willing.
I noticed, too, that the older my kids get, the more they realize how smart their dad was.
Yeah.
They're like, wait a minute, Dad was actually pretty smart.
Yeah, exactly.
Back in the day.
He knew what he was talking
It's
about.
amazing. I like it. Okay, Michael, tell us, for the reader's perspective, more about the story. Like, it's a fictionalized story. It's not based completely on factual events that have happened, and these aren't actual real people by name. So tell us a little bit more about the story, and I want to bring people in as readers and listeners to the audiobook. Kind of give us the overview, what's happening in the story, and what does a reader need to know before they start reading Route 80?
Right. Well, the reader needs to know that it's a fictionalized story, but it's inspired by true events. And to give you like a 30-second synopsis of the book takes place where, again, he has this crossroads, his character has this crossroads. And over many, many years, the main character becomes successful. He made the right decisions, and he becomes a financial advisor. And he receives a phone call that his dad, who has been incarcerated in a federal prison, dies in prison. Excuse me. And he now has to make this quote unquote road trip on Route 80 with a brother and a cousin, family members, to make this ride across from Pennsylvania, from Queens to Pennsylvania. And in this road trip, when somebody passes away, you celebrate life, right? It's a celebration of life. You go back and you talk about stories, and you reflect on the good and the bad and the ugly. And that's basically what takes place. So you're in this car and in this ride, and it's a 5, 6, 7, 8 hour day, because you're stopping off at diners, and they stop off at a sports bar, and there's people, people are taking naps, and you're alone with your thoughts with the radio, and how a song comes on, and it's like a time machine and brings you back to a certain time, and a certain story is then presented. You follow? Or then just conversations. Hey, remember when? Of lost time, and that's what it is. That whole car ride is sharing memories and sharing experiences. And through these experiences, there's life lessons that are learned. I mean, because if you're living life and you have your eyes and ears open, there's a lot of lessons to be picked up and learned. And that's basically what happens in this 6, 7, 8 hour trip. There's all these different life lessons and stories that are shared. So there's a lot of humor, because when you do celebrate a life, you also have to look back and laugh a little bit, because it heals that pain,
Yeah.
And it's also a form of mourning or celebrating a life, and that's what these characters do. And then when they get finally, after many hours doing all this, they finally get to the penitentiary. And I don't want to give the book away, but that's where the rubber meets the road, because that's where now they're faced with this awful situation where they have to identify this dead body, and then have this body, then you give them permission, then it's transported back to Queens for burial.
Yeah.
So that's a difficult thing, to be in a federal prison and have to do all this and face that challenge and that dilemma. And that's what the character has to do.
Yeah. The one thing that caught me reading was the phone call coming from the penitentiary, from the warden to the son.
Yeah.
And how cold it felt.
Right.
Like, it's just transactional.
Yeah.
Hey, confirm this. Here's his number. Here's information. Bye.
Right.
Boom. And it's like nobody's giving any warmth or comfort. No one's in the moment there comforting the son who lost his dad. No. There's none of that. Right?
No.
And I'm like, how harsh, right? Just because somebody is, quote, guilty of something in jail, in prison, you're like, they're still human. Right. There's a humanity to the story.
Well, the humanity in that situation like that is unfortunately thrown away. And what I talk about in the book is how people in every walk of life, you don't need to be in a prison. You can be marginalized in any different way. And towards the end of the book, I have a title that's a numbered title. I think it's whatever the number is. And it basically talks about how that person who was incarcerated was recognized and only known by his number. But a lot of people just feel like a number, whether it be in the corporate world or whether it be, you're identified by a number, the IRS, and it's just the way the world works. It's a bureaucratic, robotic atmosphere that we're all living under, and we're all to the point we all feel marginalized, and it's a horrible place to be when you're marginalized, and it's just reality. It's reality. And that's the cold, hard fact. So I talk about in one of the chapters how a number is just a cold, hard fact. You've derived these numbers through whether it be optimal solutions, figuring things out, or just by memorization. But that number is that number. There's no emotional gymnastics that take place deriving that number, And that's a strong element of the book towards the end, of how people are marginalized. And finding humanity within that atmosphere, which I think the book accomplishes at the end.
It does. Yeah. It does. We're not going to give it away. You got to buy the book, listen to it. But it does. Right. I felt like you led us there in the book. I like that.
Yeah.
If the one thing I'm kind of wrestling with right now about the lack of humanity, like in that illustration about the phone call about the father passing away, is I think in life, I think we would do better as humans if we kind of had our radar up around the people around us. Nobody knowing this car driving down Route 80, where they're going, holidays, is it fun, is it exciting? Are you going to get your father from the penitentiary after he passed away? Nobody knows what you're dealing with in real time.
Right.
And if you imagine like, one of those cars when they go train kids how to drive a car, student driver, right? They have that plastered on the back of the car. Everybody backs off a little bit because they're like, oh, this person's learning, right? So I'm not going to be right up on them, squealing, screaming, flipping them off. But because I know they're learning. So I'm going to back off a little bit. Imagine if all of us had some sort of bumper sticker sign on the back of our car that went, I'm going to get my father who passed away.
Yeah.
Everybody would just kind of be like, whoa.
Yeah.
I'm going to give this person a little bit of space, right?
Yeah.
But we don't know what people are dealing with.
That's a very good point.
Treat each other very inhumanely.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows what each other's dealing with. Driving that Route 80 in a somber state when everyone else is sleeping in the car and you're just thinking about your dad, for example. You're not really paying attention to the road. You might do something wrong and make somebody angry. But if we all knew that we were all dealing with something, I think we'd treat each other better.
Yeah. That's a fantastic insight. But we don't. That's the problem. And but I think we all, as people, need the emotional capacity to tap into certain things at certain times. But, the world can be a cruel place, and all that is within everybody. But a lot of that emotion is tucked away. And now we're going to go down a rabbit hole because of all it's just society with social media and media itself that's just throwing out all these different messages to people. And I think people become more combative, and just because of the information that's given to them. And I think they lose a lot of the empathy along the way. But I haven't, like I'm at a stage in my life where I can distinguish one from the other and still have the empathy and the humanity. And that's what I think this book has.
Good.
I think there's a lot of emotional depth to the book. And I'm hoping it comes across.
So when somebody closes the back cover of the book, we're all done Route 80, Michael. What is your hope as they hold on to this book? They just finished reading it. What is the finish line, do you think, for the
Yeah, I got to tell you, that's a great question. I'll give you an example. I'm sure you've been to a movie with your significant other, and you walk out of, and the best movies and the best stories are the ones that when you walk out of the theater, it makes you think and you're quiet. And you walk to your car and you don't say a word to the other person because you both have taken in and you're filtering your emotions, and you don't say anything until you finally hit the car and you say, hey, what do you think? And you talk. That's what I want this book to do. I want people to close this book. When they close it, I want them to think. I had somebody, a young person who read the book, mid to late 20s, and he says, I finished the book he wrote, and he goes, it's going to take me days to digest this, and I'm like, good, because that's effective. It's going to bring that empathy that people have tucked away back up to the surface, and so that's what I want. That's what I would want this book to accomplish. Think.
Yeah. It's very visual as well. Like, again, I was saying, I felt like I had to keep up with the story, and you really drive the story for the reader, but it is very visual. I can see myself in the car. I can experience what's happening in real time as I'm reading.
Right.
That's on purpose, right? You have a visual aspect to this yourself as the author.
Sure. Absolutely. Yeah. When you write, you have to paint a picture. And that's the beauty with reading, because everybody paints their own picture. And and your imagination is probably the greatest aspect that you can have as a human being, right? We all have different imaginations and how we visualize things. I'll tell you a quick story. I went to some party not long ago, and somebody was reading the book, and there's a character in the book called Diamond, which is the grandfather. And Diamond's a very, very colorful character, right? And you know, but Diamond is also, he's a fictional character in the book, but he's also inspired by truth. So he's somebody, I have a picture on my phone of this person, and I wanted to offer the picture to the person who was reading it. And they said, no, 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 no. I don't want to see the picture. It would ruin the story. I want to be done with it first. So that's what, so her imagination was her little story. Everybody has their own story.
Right.
You're talking about songwriting and listening to music. Your interpretation of, let's say, Hotel California from the Eagles may be totally different from the other person right now who's listening to that song today or to me. And that's the beauty of music. And so every time Don Henley is questioned, what does that song mean? It means different things to everybody. Why should he give up? Why should he give away the secret sauce of what it meant to him? Because then it's going to take away what it meant to you, and it's going to take away what it meant to that other person. Same thing with the book. Everybody's going to look at this in a certain way and have a different interpretation, and that's good. That's a cool thing.
Yeah.
I've had people know what they call that? You know what they call that?
Yeah, what is that? What is that?
They call it art.
Yeah. I've had people come up to our band and go, I love the song about the thing. And you're like, we haven't written a song about the thing, whatever that is. Right. They're like, yeah, no, you did. It's on the last album, song number 3. I'm like, well, that's not about that. That's about this.
Right.
They're like, not to me, it's not.
That's
it's
right.
about this.
Right.
And you're like, oh.
Let it lie.
That wasn't even in our mind when we wrote this.
Let that lie.
No thought of
let it lie.
I love that.
Yeah, that's what an artistic creation should do. Right? Basically, right? It's better than
people stand in front of paintings and do that. They're like, oh, so you see the thing?
Yeah.
What? I don't see that.
Exactly. I don't see that. Why does somebody pay millions and millions of dollars for something whereas somebody else thinks it's worthless? You know, it's all in the mind and the imagination of the person who's willing to put a value on something.
Yeah. Right.
Value is just it's a number that moves. It's a very fine line in the value of something.
Very personal too.
Yeah. Exactly.
What you value, I might not, and vice versa, right?
Yeah.
So,
I
like that.
Absolutely.
There's a potential, maybe, Michael, of this hitting the screens at some point. Do you think that would be a dream for you as an author? To see this turned into something more?
Yeah, I think we have some people looking at it now, as a matter of fact. I don't know where it goes from here. You know, once when you drop something out in the world, you basically lose power of it, of how people are going to react to it. That's why getting back to the vulnerability of creating art, you can't, you're not going to control how people think or feel about certain things in life. So don't worry about it. The only person you can control, the only emotions you can control is your own, right? So work about that. So whatever happens from here on in, I have no control over it.
Right. It's good.
Yeah.
Is there another route, another highway that you're looking at, Michael? Is there another thing?
There's definitely there's other stories that I want to create, but I have to be careful because it's like, I was thinking about this the other day, because I don't want to create something that, like, let's go back to music, right? You have a very popular record, an album. I don't know if they call it albums anymore. And then you don't want to, and it's great, but the artist doesn't want to create, let's say, the second version of it, like Stairway to Heaven 2 or whatever. You have to like, I don't want to know if I want to create the next one, route, I 495 or something, or I-95. I don't know if that, then it kind of diminishes the first story a little bit, or it doesn't really take off the second time. It's magic only happens maybe once in a time capsule. So let it be, and then create something different, So I don't know. I have to think that through.
But writing is definitely in your future.
Yeah. I want to see this through first. I have to really promote this. And I want to see
Yeah.
this. I want to see this grow legs and run a little bit, or I
Nice.
start
Nice.
doing. Yeah, I want to start doing that because I think I can talk about the story a little bit going forward.
Yeah.
Try to promote it. It's hard for me sometimes. I enjoy talking to people with the intelligence of you, obviously. I enjoy it very much, but it's also difficult because it's self-promotion, and I don't want to come across where it's some like bragging or, patting myself on the back or saying how
Yeah.
great certain things are. I don't want to do that. But in the same breath, you have to sell something to somebody who has not read
Yeah.
the book yet. It's kind of a fine line that I have to walk, but I'll obviously continue to do it.
Yeah, that's the intent for the show.
Yeah.
If you walk through a bookstore, there's thousands of books, and you walk by shelves and shelves and shelves of books before you find anything you want to are remotely interested in. I want Route 80 to jump off the shelf into your hands by having a conversation
Yes,
like this.
exactly.
So people are like, oh, I need this book. I'm excited about this because now it's not just a title and it's not just a book on a shelf.
Yeah.
It's a story.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the idea for this podcast.
Yeah, well-
And having you on, I don't feel you salesy at all. I think we're celebrating a story.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Right. The
Really
more
do.
we celebrate it, the more people will find
Yeah,
it.
I think so. I think people find comfort in others' humility,
Yeah.
and I know I do.
Yeah.
So
Right. It's good. Everyone, Route 80. We'll have a link for everybody in the show notes. When the audiobook comes out, I'm going to obviously download that because I love listening to audiobooks.
Yeah.
And the fact that you voiced it as well.
I'm doing the
I think
audio.
That's amazing.
I'm doing the audiobook. Yeah, I did it. I just
cool.
finished it last week. So now it's in the process of being just edited and tightened up a little bit. And
What's satisfying for you reading your own book?
Everything.
Yeah. I like that. I like that pause, by the way.
Yeah.
You just did it again.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's leave it at that.
I like that.
It was yeah.
That was really well done.
Yeah.
Michael, I love that.
And it's going to affect
if
in
you-
the audiobook. It's
Yeah.
still a lot of that dynamic switch and change and
Nice.
yeah.
It's in there. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one thing to read, it's another thing to hear it. And I like to read and listen at the same time, so I'll have your book downloaded and have you read it. I know you said you kind of go a little bit, you have some fun with the book and you kind of go off a little bit, but you still get the feel.
Oh yeah, when
while
I
you're reading
improvise
to
on it,
so I
it's
like
still
Yeah.
99% of the written word. I just maybe change around a little bit and just make it a little bit more free flowing,
Yeah,
But it's
like it.
99% of the book.
excellent.
Yeah, I'm not talking about
Michael,
any
thank
new
you.
stories or anything. I stick to the
No.
I stick to the script.
There you go.
Let's put it that way.
Right. So you're going to put a few miles on this book before working on a new project,
Yeah.
which is great. This book deserves some mileage.
Yeah, it does.
right?
Yeah.
There you go. Got the miles in there. If you're looking for a good road trip book, everyone to fall in love with, and if you live anywhere near Route 80, then obviously you need this book on your coffee table because you live there.
Yeah.
Like, come on,
Yeah.
you need to have a copy of this
Yeah.
and share it with people along your path. And maybe if you're driving the road, just drop this off at a few places on your way. Leave it at a truck stop or leave it at a place on Route 80. I'm sure they'd love to see.
That's a great idea because it's a great road trip book.
Yeah.
But I think it's a book that can be enjoyed sitting on your couch and reading it because it can take you out there. You know what I mean? And it's a fun book, but a fun book can also make you think a little bit and feel and get emotional. And that's part of life,
It's well done, Michael.
Thank
It's
you.
very well done. And I'm excited to have a copy, and I really appreciate the fact that you have this out in the world for us.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. Where do we go to connect with you? I have your website up while we're chatting. Talk about your website quick. Let's kind of
Yeah, it's michaelconteauthor.com, and you can get me on Facebook and Instagram, Michael Conte Author. And you can pick up the book on Amazon, obviously, and Barnes and Noble. And if you read the book and enjoy the book, please leave a review. It helps.
Yeah,
It helps the
people
algorithm and helps the promotion
Yeah.
of the book. So I appreciate you having me on today. It was a lot of fun. It was a great conversation. You do great work. I really appreciate you. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. You're good.
Thanks,
You're
Michael.
very good at what you do. So I appreciate you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
And I'm going to send it right back to you. You are equally good as an author, and I really appreciate the words in here and the story you tell, and that you think of us when you're writing. So I appreciate that.
Appreciate you
so much.
Thank you for having me.
Excellent.
Bye.
Everybody, everything is always in the show notes for Michael. Go give him all of your love. Share the book with others. I'm sure when you buy the book, here's a little challenge for everybody. Take a picture of the book where you live with something in the background that's kind of a thing that we would recognize from a photo.
Yeah.
Take a picture of it, send it to Michael. Show where Route 80 went.
That's great.
Where did it travel?
It's great that you said that. Oh, by the way, Conte is Conte, Michael Conte, Conte. But it's great that you said that before we run off. I'm sorry, I know we're short on time. Have people travel all over the world with the book. So they take pictures when they're in Greece. Yeah. If somebody is going to India, and I get a kick out of that, when it's in all parts of the world and country. It's a pretty cool thing. So thank you.
This is a book that's meant to travel, right? It's Route 80. It's right on the cover.
Hence the name.
It's meant to travel,
hence the name.
right?
Thank you.
I love it. Everyone, thanks, Michael, so much.
Be well. Bye.
Hey, thanks for listening to the podcast. Glad to have you here. I just want to let you know that you can always find out what we're doing live in the moment by going to our YouTube channel. Head over to livingthenextchapter.com. There'll be a link right there. Head over to our YouTube channel. Make sure you like, subscribe, do all the things that all the YouTubers love to say. And in our YouTube channel, a couple things. You're going to get advanced listens. You're going to get the episodes that we're working on in real time. So we record and post daily on our YouTube channel. I'd love for you to give us a follow over there. As well, we're making playlists. We have over 500 episodes. So finding the right episode for you, we're trying to group things into playlists. So if you like children's books, if you like business, you like historical fiction, we're grouping our authors together to make it a little easier for you to find your favorite next author. So head over to livingthenextchapter.com. And again, I'd love to hear from you. Hearing from the listeners of the show is great. And I just want to say thank you for being a part of the podcast family. And I look forward to having you back for the next episode. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate your time and your listen. Take care.